Good morning guys, and welcome back to the This Mum at Home channel. If you don't know, my name is Christy and I run a blog called This Mum at Home, which talks about ways to simplify your life as a busy mum. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe today and stick around, because I'm starting a whole new series here on the channel called Practical Minimalism for Families. I'm going to dive into that just a little bit today, just to sort of give you an idea of, it's our experience and what it is for us, in hopes that it might actually help some other people out there and encourage people and not discourage people from trying to take a more minimalistic approach to life. Okay, so when people talk about minimalism, some people sort of think, okay, it's like people have rules and they say, well, you're only allowed to have 10 items, you can't own a house, you can't have toys for your kids. People have very specific opinions about minimalism, and I guess me saying having practical minimalism is another opinion, but I just feel like for me it's practical choices to do with yourself personally, and especially when you have a family, because you're not just considering yourself, you're considering everyone else in that family as well. So for me, it's not about just owning 50 items and that's it, living in a tent and not having a car because to me that's not practical, especially when you have a family and you have kids, you have young kids. So for me, minimalism is really about removing negative things from your life, things that don't have any purpose, and sort of distract you from, living life, distract you from fulfilling your purpose and doing what you feel you should be doing on this earth, basically. And that goes for possessions, which is a huge part of it. It is. Most people, when they think of minimalism, they just think, oh, it's decluttering stuff and that's it. It is about more than that, but possessions is a huge part, and I will talk about that a lot here on the channel for sure. But yeah, sort of getting rid of possessions that have no purpose in your life, things that are holding you back, people that have negative impact on your life and having no purpose in your life really, and just sort of dragging you down, and just experiences. Are you in a job where all you're doing is just going to work and it's a rat race and you hate it, and you're just constantly on this wheel of trying to earn more money to pay for all the millions of things that you have, and things that just aren't making you happy, it's about decluttering and simplifying everything in your life so you have a clear mind, and you can focus on what you should be doing. For us, it's really, really important, for Johnny and I, my husband and I, it's important for us to show the kids, just the world, and not saying travel the whole world, but showing them things in the world that give them experiences and teach them things about life, because life's journey, that's what we're here for. We're here to learn lessons and really sort of nurture ourselves and our souls, and grow with that and improve and help others improve, and that's what it's all about for us. So yes, practical minimalism for family is really just being practical about all of those things particular to your family. So that's what we're going to talk about over the next few weeks, months, years even. I don't know how long this will go for, this series, but I'm going to continue it on as long as I am. We have been sort of on this journey for the last 2 to 3 years, and it's been a journey. Especially when I first started, I knew what I wanted to do, but it was really hard to make those changes and get that idea out of my head that people put ideas in your head, whether it's family or friends or television advertisements, on what life should be. It's really, and especially when it comes to TV. When it comes to TV, advertisements and things like that, of course, that's their job, to put that in your head and say, you need this, you want this, this is how your life should be. You're not successful unless your life looks like this. So, that's their job to do that. So it's hard to sort of rise above that and get past that and sort of clear your mind and just focus on and figure out exactly really what is important to you, and to move forward and know what you want to do with your life. I am 38 and I have spent, I would say, my adult years definitely trying to find myself and work out what I want to do. And there's been passions in my life which, now when I think about it, I think the things that I was really passionate about when it came to work and things like that, it all boiled down to one thing for me, and that was just, I enjoyed most is helping people. No matter what job I did, and a lot of it was management and stuff, was really just, honestly, the soul of it was helping people. That's what I enjoyed most. So that's where I've kind of taken my life now, into that sort of direction. And I started the This Mum at Home blog. I started a VIP lounge on the blog to sort of focus more on those individual people and what their needs are. It's just, for me, that's what it's all about. So I feel like when I've made the decision on things in my life, like people, experiences, possessions, that I always have that in mind. And I think, how is this affecting that? How is it distracting me? And then just conquering it, and just, getting rid of anything that really distracts me from what I feel is fulfilling my purpose. So a big part of minimalism, it's not the only part, but a big part of it is possessions. And like I said, people, when they think of minimalism, they think of this, and they think of not owning things, not having any clothes, and not having toys for your kids and all of that. I feel like definitely that's the biggest part for us in the last at least 2 years, where we've really just cleared things immensely. I have gone room by room, prioritized sections on what I think works for me as a mum and as a parent, and everything else that I need to do in life. And I've kind of got this strategy now where I revisit things, monthly, to really work on that. Because when you first start off, decluttering and getting rid of things that have no purpose and don't give you joy in life, it's really hard because you tend to keep things and you think, maybe I need to keep that just in case, and I would hold on to things, and then 2 months later would realize, I haven't really used that, let's get rid of it. A big part of it is toys for the kids, obviously. For me personally, and practically, I think, kids definitely need toys. They need to nurture that imagination, so they don't come into adulthood thinking that something can't be achievable, something can't be done. The whole point of being a kid is imagining and pretending things, and, pretending they're this and pretending they're that, and, not deferring that creativeness of the children, if that makes sense. I never want my kids to feel like they can't do anything that they really want to do, that they're passionate about. I don't want them to think, because they don't have this amount of money, they can't do this, or they didn't get this mark at school, so they can never be a doctor, or never, whatever they want to do. I want them to feel like that they can always have support from us, and always, achieve those goals that they want to actually achieve. When it came to toys, it was a little bit difficult, because it wasn't just me deciding for me, it was, deciding with the kids and what I felt like they needed and what they felt like they needed. So when it comes to the toys and kids, it's probably going to be not just one video, maybe a couple of videos to visit that area, because I know how tough it is as a parent to, make those decisions. And I don't feel like they should have nothing at all, for sure. I feel like they should have some things, so they can just grow their minds and be creative, and just all of that joyful things for them. So toys is one big thing, and I'll talk about more how I tackled that, putting things away and bringing things back and all of that. It was really a big journey, and it's a continued journey. I still continue on with it, because I started sort of doing more of that when Joseph was about 3 or 4 years old, and now Isabella's 3. She's at that point too, where she still plays with toys, so she has more than Joseph, but Joseph is older and doesn't have a lot of toys as such. He likes gaming and drawing and, experiments, that kind of stuff. So he's a whole different ball game now. So I'm sort of revisiting that whole area with Isabella. So I do want to talk about that a lot more, because I've had a young child and an older child. So I definitely know the difference and what it's like to deal with that. But in regards to possessions in whole, it's really about making those choices on if you really need it or whether you want it. That's the other thing. If you want something because it gives you joy and you use it and it has a purpose, that's perfectly fine to keep it. But if you want something and it's just sitting there and you've just got it for the sake of it because someone told you should have it, or some TV ad says you need it, but you're not actually using it, obviously you want to ditch it and get rid of it. So when it came to me thinking about what areas to start off with first, as a busy mum who went on to do meal planning a few years ago, which I talk about a lot on the channel, so go and check out the blog for one, that I talk about it a lot on there, and the rest of the channel to see sort of what I do with grocery hauls and things like that. It's all got to do with meal planning, and I do talk a lot more about it and show a lot more about it on the VIP lounge, so I'll leave a link below to the VIP lounge if you want to check out and see what that's about. But when it came to meal planning, the first thing I had to do was tackle my kitchen and do a whole clean out thing first, because really that's what was holding me back. I couldn't meal plan properly and keep things flowing and going well without having that area in my life completely cleared and giving my mind just clarity on what I needed to do and things. And that sounds like a full-on thing, but I promise you, if you're starting to meal plan, this is one of the first things that you need to tackle, because if you do that first, then you can go on with meal planning, and it's just so much easier to do what you need to do with meal planning if you have a clear, clean kitchen, decluttered of things you just don't need. So the first 3 areas that I want to talk about over the next few videos is the kitchen, kids' toys, and clothing. So they were the main areas that I chose initially because they were the things that consumed my life the most. And I spent a lot of wasted time in cleaning up, preparing, just sorting, all that kind of stuff every day. I would spend more hours in the kitchen than I needed to, and more hours in the day cleaning up, doing laundry, cleaning up toys, all that kind of stuff, that it just took away from everything. And not just for me. Like, if I'm spending the whole day just cleaning and organizing and focusing all on that all the time, I had no time for the kids and for us as a family to go and do stuff. And when we did go and do stuff, I was thinking about how I had to get home and, tackle the laundry or clean up the kitchen and, all of those things. It was so stressful that it gave me anxiety, like it really did. And it wasn't until we went away, it was a few years ago, I talk about this when it comes to how many pieces of clothing we've got and things I've talked about in Simple Sundays videos. But we went away, and when we came back, we went away for 2 weeks, which normally we'll go away for a week at a time or so usually, but we went away for 2 weeks this time. And we came back and I realized that we had been in like an apartment type style sort of holiday area, and I realized what we didn't need. Honestly, we went 2 weeks of happiness, of even cleaning up there was so simple because there was less things to sort of clean up and stuff. We only had the basics of what we need, because if you're in an apartment on a holiday, they just have the basics on what you need in a kitchen and bathroom and things like that. And what we packed obviously was a lot less than what we actually owned. So I came back with a whole new mindset of what I wanted my life to be and what I wanted for my kids and for us together as a family. And I talked about it with my husband, and I said, oh God, we could have just lived there and been happy. And it wasn't because we're on holiday. It was literally because we had more time to do things together as a family, because we didn't have all the stresses and anxiety of everyday cleanup, constant cleanup. So when we came home, that's when I started the journey. And I just thought, right, what do I tackle first? And it was those 3 areas, the kitchen, the laundry, and kids' toys, that I really focused on first. And then I just prioritized those first and then branched out into other areas on what I thought for me as a mum needed to tackle first. So from there, I moved on to other areas in my life, which included people and my work, that kind of thing. So that kind of came later for me, because I think when you deal with the possession thing first, you have a better mindset on what you want, and when you deal with the possession thing first, you really see the effects of it, so you understand it, and then you can apply that to other areas in your life. So I guess what I'm trying to say, over the next few weeks, we're definitely going to spend more time in regards to the possession side of thing and talk about it. And so if you guys want to stick around and know more about this practical minimalism for families, then make sure you subscribe. Because I'm hoping this journey will be something that will help other mums especially just deal with it, and you know, really, like I said, get that mindset of not having to have this, that and everything that everyone else has, or that family and friends are telling you to have, and just be happy with, you know, what you've got, and having less and just more time, more freedom, and more money as well. I will say that, because obviously if you're not buying as much, there's less stress on you financially in paying for things and having enough money for bills and other stuff in your life. And I have to say, definitely, like, that's been one of the things for us, is we don't have a house to pay for. We only rent, and that's what works for us. And I will talk about that more in another video, because again, that's a practical thing on for your family. My sister, she lives in another state. She has 5 children. She is a home buyer, and that's what works for her, and that's what's practical for her, because for her, it works out better financially than her renting. For us here, I'm in Victoria, what we pay in rent is like pretty much half of what we'd probably pay in a mortgage, or a lot less at least. So for us, practically, you know, this is what works for us and our family. But I will talk about that more at another date, but it's just more about, you know, not feeling those pressures to have everything and what the world thinks you should have. And yeah, just tackle that journey with me. So anyway, guys, I hope I've been rambling. I hope that you guys follow me and subscribe and just follow this journey. My first video is going to be talking about the kitchen, because I feel like that's definitely the #1 area as a busy mum that you need to tackle first, if you're going to go on this minimalistic journey, because it will just relieve a lot of stress and anxiety about things. And you can, so I'm going to show a kitchen tour of my kitchen. You can see how much we own of everything, and how I use it, how I utilized it, and just how I got to this point that I'm at now. Because I think if you start in that area first, you're going to see good results, and it's really going to encourage you to go and hit those other areas. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope I've given you a bit of insight into this, and I will see you along on the journey. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.